Aloha, and welcome to the special edition of Hawaii Fashion Now. Road to Runway, meet the senior design students. This is part of a docu-series following the spring 2021 University of Hawaii at Manoa fashion show production class as they produce the 55th annual fashion show, completely virtual this year, premiering in May. Here's a look at the public service announcement, written and produced by the fashion show production students, promoting the annual fashion show.
Aloha, we are the student producers from the University of Hawaii at Manoa fashion show production class.
This year marks the 55th annual fashion show called Road to Runway, a virtual production premiering in May.
Featuring the junior and senior collections from UH Manoa's fashion design and merchandising program.
These exclusive designs have been created and curated over the past year and a half.
Follow the making of our virtual fashion show on Instagram and Facebook.
Take this journey with us on
the Road to Runway.
Aloha, my name is Lauren Bloom, and I am a part of the University of Hawaii at Manoa Spring 2021 fashion show production class, and I'm so excited to introduce you to our senior designer, Erin.
Hey besties, my name is Erin J. Guillermo, and I'm a senior design student. Thank you so much for having me, Lauren.
Yes, thank you so much for joining me today, Erin. So going to jump right into the first question. Did you always plan on majoring in fashion, or was it something that you decided later on after you were at UH?
Well, just like any local Filipino boy, my parents really wanted me to go into nursing. But for me personally, I didn't think that it would be a career for me until I saw Kini Zamora on, a Project Runway. And then from there, I think it was middle school at that time, I started to get more deeper and deeper into the fashion industry and start sewing.
Oh wow, so you've been sewing for a while now, since you were in high school?
Yes, I think I made a pillowcase in middle school.
I did too. I made a little pillow with my grandma when I was 12 or something. So that's so funny. Well, ideally, where do you see yourself 10 years from
now? In the perfect world, I would like to have my own ready-to-wear line. Realistically, I want to move to New York, just start selling clothes, have people wear my stuff, just be chill, be one of those cool moms that a fashion designer,
Yes, of course. I see you in New York as well. I think you would do amazing there. Okay, so what is the name of your senior collection that you are currently working
on? Well, my collection is entitled After School Special. For my collection, personally, I was inspired mostly by, the Y2K era, very much so, Lil' Kim, Christina Aguilera definitely is one, but more so the women that I growing up in my childhood, the clothes that they would wear, it was something kind of how I would want to perceive myself as I grew up, but I didn't get to because I'm a little child and I can't wear very provocative stuff. But my collection, I wanted to make it more so of a unisex thing because for me, I use clothing as almost a shield. Oh my god, I hope it doesn't sound like an intervention or anything, but I like to use clothing just to express myself. It helps me to be more confident with myself. And I find that wearing women's clothing, it doesn't really fit me well, but it's the one article of clothing that fits me the best. So I'm hoping to create unisex clothing for people like me, and everyone in between.
So when did you first begin envisioning this collection, and did any specific designers influence you?
Well, I'm a very big New York designer. So I study mostly the underground artists, and right now I'm very inspired by Laquan Smith. He's a Black designer, and I think he's in Harlem, was it Brooklyn? I'm not too sure. But I really liked his way of incorporating sexual, or I shouldn't say that, sensual styles, but also making it very classic and elegant and very timeless. A fun fact, I created these cowboy chaps, and I think it was 2 years ago, and he had a spring collection, and he had like a cowboy chaps too, and I was like freaking the frick out. Like
I think I remember those.
Oh my god, yeah. It was like with Joel, and like I was like very like, excited, and I don't know.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. Okay, so that leads me into my next question, which you kind of touched on a little bit already, but who are you making this collection for?
Definitely for the girls and the gays, you know, like the babies, the they, thems. For the people who, you know, just use clothing to like make them feel better about themselves. I more so want to make clothing for people who have not necessarily like a mask or femme body, but like people who don't really have like the model stereotype or like a sample size, you know. And I just feel like having like inclusion is very important, you know.
Mm-hmm. And what is the biggest lesson that you have learned so far in making this collection? Could be about yourself or about, you know, literally designing, making the clothes or anything.
Definitely that denim is a B word to sew. I broke like 6 needles, I think in the past 2 months. You definitely need to like step up in that, Pat Darren. Also, white stains a lot. It's very hard to like keep clean. But yeah, I had like a fun time constructing it. I enjoy like every bit of like the whole process of like designing, like going from like sketching to patterning to draping. But yeah, just like little like details of like stuff just like be like inconvenience to me. You know?
And was this would you say that in the making of this collection, was it different than a lot of the garments that you've made in past semesters? Like, were you experimenting a lot like with the denim and stuff, or have you worked with those fabrics before?
Yes, I have like worked with denim a lot, but this time around I'm using like unconventional materials you wouldn't see with denim, like with boning, steel spiral boning, underwire. I can't like give out too much.
I know, honestly, you're making me very excited to see the collection. Okay, well, my last question would be, how has COVID-19 affected the making of this collection, either physically in your ability, you know, to go onto campus, or mentally as well and emotionally?
That's a big one. When I first got into this program, I really wanted, like, I knew that I was gonna go and participate in the senior fashion show. And so like I was curating this collection in my head and my sketchbooks for the past 4 years now. And when this COVID hit, it was like very like disheartening to hear that I might not have like a conventional show. So for a while I was just like beating up myself about it. But I came around, you know, like things happen, whether for good or for not. I'm pushing through. I guess like the biggest thing that like I had to work around was finding materials for my projects, because I think when it first came out and like the lockdown, I couldn't find materials for like my assignments last spring semester, was it? And I was like panicking because I couldn't find like elastic, and everyone was like hoarding and like stocking up on elastic to make like the mask and everything. And I couldn't finish my assignments, and I was worried that I would fail a class, because I don't know if you've had her class, Minako, like she grades only on like our projects, nothing else. I had a talk with Minako, and she understood the gravity of the situation, and you know, we're both still like working around the situation and like learning, but I'm so glad to have her as my professor. I like to call her as like my my school mom almost. She's very like a mother figure to me.
Hi, my name is Peyton Carlin, and I'm one of the student producers of this year's annual fashion show at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. Today I'm joined by Helen Park.
Hi, I'm Helen. I'm currently a senior at UH Manoa, studying fashion design and merchandising.
So my first question for you to kick off the interview is, how long have you been making clothes for?
I would say I've been making clothes ever since I learned how to sew, which was actually at UH Manoa.
Oh, really?
So less than 4 years, yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's actually like, I thought you would be sewing for much longer. What made you decide to major in fashion design, and what are your plans after you graduate from UH Manoa?
I think what made me most drawn to fashion design and merchandising was that fashion was just such a big part of my life that I didn't really acknowledge. So I felt like learning more about it would help me appreciate it more as well.
Is it just like something that you've always been like inspired by or just interested in?
Yeah, I think it's definitely an art form, and I use it every day to express myself. I'm currently working on kind of like a swim and loungewear brand with my two old classmates and friends. They've already graduated. So we're hoping to launch it by May. So like right after I graduate. Yeah, it's kind of hectic, but hopefully we can do it. And I don't know, I hope to find a job within the fashion industry, hopefully for like a small local business.
Okay, yeah, nice.
That's what I hope to do after.
Okay, what was your inspiration behind your senior designs for this year?
So the inspiration for my senior collection, so it's called Under the Sun. And the inspiration for that was probably just quarantine in general. So not being able to be outdoors, you know, at one point, like all the parks were closed, all the beaches were closed, like outside was closed, basically.
Yeah.
So I think it helped me like appreciate what we take for granted every day, which is just having time under the sun.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that was like probably the biggest inspiration for this collection.
Like that. I feel like lockdown kind of felt like a fever dream. Like everything just felt so unnormal. And so I like that idea, just like being able to do what we used to be able to like, in normal life compared to. So continue your senior designs. Just like writer's block, like, do you think there's such thing as designer's block when it comes to creating looks?
I would definitely say yes, just because sometimes you have like so many ideas, you don't know which one you want to use, or sometimes you have no ideas at all. And you're just like, yeah, you're just staring at a paper. You know, when you have like a 10-page essay and you just type like one word and you're just staring at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like that. Yeah, I'm very indecisive. And they're also very like, they're pretty like long-term commitments. You know, you're working on the same look for almost a month. Like it gets tiring just sticking to that one same project over and over again, but it's still worth it in the end. But
yeah. So by
process,
the end, like, okay, that was completely worth it. Like I love it. Yeah,
I would say so. Yeah.
Okay, good. So what does your design process even look like from start to finish usually?
From start to finish. So first I try to think of an inspiration or something that I think would be a good theme for my collection. And then after that, I'll try to find some like inspo pics or like mood board pics, and then try to think of a color scheme and also decide which season I want to be designing it for. So like spring, summer, or fall, winter. So this one was supposed to be like fall, winter, but in Hawaii. So obviously not like coat heavy or anything, or like suit heavy. Yeah.
When you say like your mood board and stuff, do you get stuff from like Pinterest, Instagram, other social media?
Yeah, I mainly use social media, especially Pinterest. I love Pinterest. I love that site. It's so good. Yeah, so I'll mainly use Pinterest, and then if I have favorite artists, I'll just look up their work and see if I can find anything in that color scheme. And then for designs, I'll just give myself like 2 hours or like chunks of time to just sit down and like draw whatever comes to my head, and then go through it and try to like combine things or separate things to see what it looks like.
Yeah. Do you usually do that at home, or do you do it like in the lab at school?
I usually do it at home. Yeah, I'm kind of a procrastinator, so I usually do all my work at night.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I completely understand that. So are you from Hawaii?
No, I'm not. I was actually born in Michigan, and then I moved here in '07 with my family.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say,
Yeah.
my other question for you would be like, what are your thoughts on fashion in Hawaii? Because I know obviously now you've lived somewhere else compared to just like living here. So how would you compare like mainland clothing to like clothing here?
I think it definitely has to play with accessibility of like fashion in Hawaii. So I feel like all the malls and all the outlets are treated for tourists, not for like local residents.
For sure.
Even considering prices, like all Mona is all like almost all high-end luxury, shops. It's like that people can't afford on the daily.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that definitely has a play in it. And also weather. Hawaii's always warm. It's like you can't layer. You can't, even if you want to. I love layering, but I can't do it.
I know. It's a bummer. Do you see yourself like living somewhere else after you graduate? Potentially like LA, New York?
I think I would definitely look for jobs out there. And if there was something that I would be able to get, I would just book it. I think a lot of local designers are so underrated.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many local designers that are so underrated, and like they're high fashion. Like I don't think people realize like they can be high fashion. Like we just need to give them that platform. Like it's so elevated.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't realize that. Like they just think it's an aloha shirt or like, something like simple, but they don't understand like, I don't know, just like the history or like the culture behind it. Like it's so enriched.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like they deserve a lot more props than they get, Like, do you have any favorite local designers?
Well, okay, this is a little biased because I interned with him, but Tini Zamora is like one of my favorite designers ever. He's just so humble. He's so knowledgeable. He's so experienced. He's so well-rounded, and he's funny.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's just always a good time,
Yeah.
And like his work is amazing. Like his custom designs too. It's crazy. Like
wow.
I would pay. I also really like Salvage Public. I feel like they do an interesting take on Hawaiian clothing. I also worked for them too, so it's a little biased, but
no, it's your honest opinion. It's your honest opinion. So, if you could meet any designer, dead or alive, who would you decide to meet?
That's a good question. I've never thought about that. I don't know. They say to never meet your idols, so
that's true.
I don't know. I don't know about this one. I think I would want to meet Minju Kim. I would want to meet her because she's actually from South Korea, and I'm Korean, so I feel like it'd be really interesting to see how she takes inspiration from Korea, because I feel like sometimes I'm not as connected.
Mm-hmm.
I think Doja Cat recently wore some of her pieces.
Oh, really?
And it was beautiful.
I'm gonna have to I'm really curious, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for letting me interview you today and taking time out of your weekend.
Thank you, Peyton.
Aloha, my name is Melanie Simmons. I am a student producer at the University of Hawaii at Manoa's fashion show production class. I am this year's lead student producer, and I have the pleasure of introducing Jade Young.
Hi, I'm Jade Young. I'm a senior in the fashion design and merchandising program at U8.
Who is your favorite fashion designer?
I don't have a specific favorite fashion designer because I just like to look at the different designs wherever I go, either whether it be on social media or when I'm out and about. I just enjoy looking at different clothes in general. But if I had to pick a designer, I would say that Chanel kind of encompasses my favorite color palette, because I usually see pink associated with it, and even their aesthetic kind of appeals to me, where it's more feminine.
When did you actually start making the clothes and designing?
Yeah, I didn't get the opportunity to I know my my papa, my grandma, she actually like she knows how to sew and stuff. So I tried to like learn a little from her as I was growing up, but nothing like really stuck to me. Like the techniques behind it didn't really stick to me until like I really didn't start making anything really until I took this fashion design class in high school, like when I was in 10th grade. I think that's when I got more into like learning how to sew and stuff. But even with that class, I feel I still didn't really like get a complete like understanding behind like how to make things until I started taking like classes at UH.
So Jade, I wanted to, now that we kind of talked about you a little bit, I'm so curious and excited to know, what is the name of your collection?
The name of my collection is Dazzling Affairs. It's supposed to be, the meaning behind the name is supposed to be that it's like a lot of dressier, fancier clothes that people can wear for different occasions during the day. Like I know one of the outfits can be worn as like, or I intended for it to be worn as like sleepwear. And then there's another dress in it that looks red carpet-esque. So there's like a whole range that I was aiming for.
What kind of people do you envision wearing this collection?
It's mostly like if I was going to specify like a target market, I mostly see like the young adult women wearing it, like the ones in their 20s, like, and it depends how much older like the younger females wanted to appear. But I think mainly it was going to be like women in their 20s, the ones who are kind of, they're like dreamers. They kind of like want to aim high for like their goals in the future. They're the artsy kind of people, of women. They're like very in touch with their feminine side is kind of what I was aiming for.
And then what is the inspiration for this collection?
Okay, the inspiration for this collection is it's like a weird mix. Like I have this fantasy, like enchanted kind of like vibe in my head, because I know the colors I associate with that are like my favorite colors, like pink and purples and blues and whites. So like kind of drawing on this this fantasy like element, I've also decided to incorporate this other interest of mine. Like I'm super into like Pokemon. I still play Pokemon Go. Like I will say that game really like it opened a lot of things for me. I'm not very social. I'm not the type to like be able to talk to people. Like I still say I'm a little like reserved in that sense, but because I play that game and it kind of encourages you to be more social and like talk to other people.
And then how long did it take you to make?
So yeah, I started it back in September, and so that's what 5 months, 3 5. I've finished 4 of my outfits so far, so I'm currently working on the last 2.
Has the COVID-19 pandemic affected making this collection?
Last semester, I didn't go onto campus that often, so I mostly sewed all my stuff at home. And I could have done the same thing this semester, but because I'm taking another class that kind of, and with the pandemic kind of, I don't know, lessening, or we're in tier 3 now. I feel that I can go in more often. So I think this semester, instead of working at home, I like all the time, I definitely try to work like on my stuff at school. So I think only in that sense the pandemic's kind of affected my collection, but the results are still the same.
Now that we got a little introduction to your collection, I guess the interview is complete, but now that I know that your collection really involves like your own personality, I'm personally very excited to see this, but thank you so much for being so willing to do this interview with me.